Hiya. Hold on. I think this is round about where it was in terms of sound. Welcome back to Higurashi no Naku no Koro ni Onikakushi arc, which I think is the overall chapter 1, but there is like chapters within this. I have a kind of sleepy dog beside me, so if you hear sleeping dog noises, that's what it is. We're going to do another read through, since yesterday's was really short, but probably will max go for about half an hour. With the boring classes finished, school was finally over for the day. Now then, what should we do for our club today? Personally, I would like to play that deduction game one more time. I was hardly able to play it last time because of Oishi. Rena and I weren't even able to test out our strategy. That's right, today Kiichi and I will be victorious. What should we do? We've never played the same game 2 days in a row before. Why not try asking me? Mion looked over her shoulder as we made eye contact. She slowly tapped her palm with her fist as her face suddenly lit up. Oops. I completely forgot. I need to help my uncle today. Sorry guys, not today. Helping your uncle? Aren't you a little goody two-shoes? Sorry, really. I really did forget. Well then, sorry guys. This old man is heading back home now. Mion left us with that and rushed off to the exit after snatching up her bag. You see, Mi-chan, she sometimes goes to help out at her uncle's shop in town. Ah, I thought she wasn't the type to get caught up in such bothersome stuff. She said that she gets paid for it. It's quite a bit of spending money from what I hear. I see. She was able to pay for that mountain of games with what she saved up from there. But wouldn't you call that a part-time job? Isn't that against school policy? There's a clause that states family businesses are excluded. Is that what she's calling it? So what now? Pass on the club today? So we're done today, I guess. Won't it be fine even without the club president? Let's do this. I opened the club locker and began searching for the deduction game from that ever-growing pile of games. Ah, here it is. The deduction game from yesterday. Man, I had to stop just as I was getting the hang of it. At the very least, I wanted to repay Satoko for what she did during the afternoon break. I do not mind. But, is that fine for Rena and Rika? If Kiichi wants to so badly, I wouldn't mind playing for a bit. I think it's better if we do it when we have everyone together. When she said it like that, I wanted to go shopping if there wasn't a club meeting today. Going to buy soy sauce and other things. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. Well, I guess since it's been a while, I should go treasure hunting. What's this now? Everyone was no longer in the mood for club activities. Good, because I'm not really in the mood for club activities either, in this instance. If I kept on trying to push the matter, it may make them realise I had a trick up my sleeve. Ah well, I'll give up this time. Man, I was really looking forward to playing it. I shuffled through the cards as if I was still caught up in it. At the next opportunity, I shall give you a sound thrashing. Oh ho ho. The murderer is Satoko. The murder weapon is the pistol. the murder weapon was almost Maria. But it ended up, well, not the murder weapon, the murderer was almost Maria, but it ended up being Jacopo in self-defense using the pistol. It was you after all. What did you say? Then I'll just... Satoko looked through the cards on the desk and stuck out 3 of them at me. Huh? Satoko looked through the cards on the desk and stuck out 3 of them at me. The murderer is Kiichi, in the lounge with the rope. I don't need no rope. I'll just strangle you like this. No, Kiichi's such a beast. Phew. Well, I guess it's good that I got that out of my system. Well, I'll remember this Kiichi. She was used as a plaything for quite a while. How unfortunate. Cute. They're so weird, like all of them. Everyone got ready to go back home. I also helped gather up the scattered cards. I suddenly paused. They were just the suspect cards, but I noticed something strange. Rena, Satoko, Rika, Kiichi, Mion, Satoshi. I didn't expect this to come up. Satoshi. Not all the cards were made by us. Or at least, every card beside this one has the name of a club member. Does this mean that this Satoshi fellow is a member? Was there someone in the class named Satoshi? I couldn't find anyone named Satoshi on the class roster stuck up on the wall. Kiichi, let's hurry and finish cleaning up. Being rushed by Rena, I finished up quickly. Satoko and Rika had already headed merrily for their lockers, so we were the only ones left in the classroom. Right now, Rena had already gotten her bag and was ready to leave. Rena, there must be quite a few people who transfer from this school, right? I tried asking Rena in a bit of a roundabout way. Rena made a troubled face and then answered, Yeah, Hinamizawa is a rural town, right? Some people transfer out every now and then. Then, is Satoshi another one of those transferees? Sorry, I don't really know. There was a bit of a pause, but the answer was pretty much immediate. I'm not saying it to be mean. Just last year, I transferred in, so maybe I just missed him. So I didn't hear much about him. Sorry. I am not sure. Sorry. Her answer was a lot like when she refused to tell me about the murderer at the dam. I was saddened by her denial and felt a little bit of anger. I'm their friend, aren't I? Friends don't keep secrets from their friends, do they? Though I do not appreciate that they kept that unsettling curse thing from me. Though I do appreciate that they kept that unsettling curse thing from me. But if everyone is worried about it, I'd rather be worried with them. That's what it means to be friends, right? For a moment I wondered just what kind of face I was making just then, with these mixed feelings of sadness and annoyance. Keiichi, you're making a scary face. Why is it? Why? It was probably exactly the kind of face Rena said it was. It appeared my grim expression had frightened her. Sorry. I was really looking forward to the club today. I'm just feeling down about it. I rustled Rena's hair. Let's go home. Dragging that awkward mood with us, we headed home. Oh ho ho, things are starting to move in Higurashi. I wonder why. Why have I been getting this dumb feeling lately? I didn't know anything. I had nothing to worry about. I was just enjoying my everyday life. My long, outstretched shadow gave no answer to my naive inquiry. Keiichi, are you tired, maybe? Maybe? Rena timidly questioned the reason behind my mood. I'm sure my expression made this situation even more unsettling. You think so? Yeah. You seem to have been a bit out of it ever since this morning. Maybe a cold? Physically, I was pretty sure I was in perfect health. It may not seem like it, but I've had perfect attendance ever since elementary school. Rena continued on since I didn't give her an answer. It could be that the fatigue from moving has finally caught up with you. It's completely different from where you used to live after all. Of course you've gotten tired, since there's so much you need to get used to and remember. Maybe that's it. Yeah, it has to be. Rena was also like that at first too. I can tell you, you know? I wondered if Rena also experienced the slight bit of alienation last year that I was feeling right now. Thinking so, I felt that she was the only one who could understand how I felt. I'd like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. How was it? Feeling I had been drawn into the conversation, her face suddenly brightened. It was the same as Keiichi. I didn't know the villagers' names at all. Mi-chan and the rest were very kind, so I wasn't lonely, but I did still feel a little out of place. Rena told me all of the details when she had moved here. All of her first acquaintances and surprises, worries and good times. So, Satoko got you too? Yeah. There was a thumbtack put on my chair. Poke. Then with that yeah. That really takes me back. When were you invited into the club? The first day? Nah. There wasn't a club in the beginning. It was formed part way through. Hang on, that's like quite inconsistent because the game had that other boy's name in it. So like, why would that exist prior to the club being formed? One day she said we should stay after and hold a big game tournament. Come to think of it, Mion did say she was the first club president. Now I get it. This is a secret, but Mi-chan used to be really bad at the beginning. She'd never win. Huh? Mion? Really? I can't even imagine that. She had to do most of the penalties that she came up with. Seriously, don't tell. I can't believe Mion was like that. So she gradually transformed into a monster who used any means necessary to win during that time. Mion is at her best when she's fighting dirty. I began making more friends besides Mi-chan after that, but yeah. It might have only been since you moved here that I had finally felt like I had gotten used to it here. I guess Rena had also been left in the dark about Oyashiro-sama when she had just moved here. I guess when they finally told me about Oyashiro-sama, I'd be considered one of them. I wonder when I'll finally be considered one of them. Huh? Did you say something? No, sorry. Just talking to myself. Keiichi, you're silly. Rena was poking fun and laughing at me, and I couldn't help but laugh as well. But I suddenly stopped. Then, after making up my mind, I spoke. Hey, Rena. Is there something that everyone is keeping from me? Huh? No, Not at all. You're lying, aren't you? Rena suddenly stopped. I'm scared. Ooh. Her expression was cold and intense. What do you mean by that, Kiichi? Her tone was still the same cheery and light-hearted one as before. You are, aren't you? Keeping something from me. After understanding what I meant, her expression grew even more intense. I'm so scared. I know what this visual novel is capable of because I've watched the series, so I'm really scared. Seeing that face, I regretted saying something so rash. But she came back to me in a way I didn't expect. I'm scared. Oh yeah, okay. Shit. Well then, Kiichi, aren't you keeping something from us? Huh? Her tone didn't change, but it was the first time I'd seen this expression from Rena. With how her gaze pierced through me, I couldn't believe this was the same Rena. Aren't you? Lies or secrets? Aren't you? You are. Secrets. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. Hold on, I want to turn the music up a little bit for this bit. Because I feel like it's worth it in the tense moments. I like the cheery music as well, but you know. We'll just put it up just that little tiny bit. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. The incident with Tomataki, and how I felt alienated from the group. Even without having to think about it, there were things I knew that I felt guilty about. But I didn't tell everyone about what happened with Tomataki. To be considerate. I was keeping it secret, just the same way they didn't tell me about Oyashiro-sama. Then, aren't we even? No, I'm not. No lies, nor secrets. Liar. Her answer was instant and it shook me. Rena started. No. Can't speak. Rena stared as if burrowing through me, watching me like a hawk. Why would you say I'm lying? Oh, hang on, that was Kiichi. So why would you say that I'm lying? Didn't you say that you were called into the teacher's room yesterday during the club meeting, Kiichi? I know. You didn't go to the teacher's room. I swallowed hard. She was the only one that came out of the class, wasn't she? It clearly wasn't a bluff. She knew what happened. The teacher said you had a guest, didn't she? You didn't talk at the entrance. You talked inside the car near the school gates. With some man we don't know. Rena knew everything. She knew that I was called out by Oishi, and that I heard about the incident with Tomataki as well. Did she know all of it? Exactly. Who was that man? I don't know him. Why did someone you don't know have business with you? I want to know that myself. Then what did you talk about? It has nothing to do with you guys. It was a lie. Oh, lies! Rena's scream echoed through the trees, sending frightened birds into the air. I want to see what this would look like with the OG. Not the OG, these are the OG, with the different sprites. Let's go with this for the time being. The Rena's sprite, in the new version, doesn't bother me. Some of the other character designs do bother me, but hers doesn't so much. Rena's scream echoed through the trees, sending frightened birds into the air. I couldn't exhale the deep breath I'd just taken. No, it was like I wasn't allowed to exhale. It was here I first realised. The person in front of me, she wasn't Rena Ryugu. Then, who was that standing before me now? Who had assumed Rena Ryugu's appearance? I'd held my breath for so long I could feel myself suffocating. Right? And then she made a facial expression that Rena might have normally made. It didn't matter that it was Rena's usual smile. It chilled me to the bone. She drew closer to me. I felt her breath against my face. It wasn't the least bit exciting. Whoever this was with Rena's face was going to chew my nose right off. I cowered as I imagined that. Then she smirked as if she was able to see right through me. We also have secrets, just like how Kiichi has secrets. It was Rena's usual smile, but her eyes were still like that of a hawk's. Bringing her face close enough to mine to almost bump her nose, she kindly persuaded me. I couldn't nod or shake my head. This person standing in front of me, this person who looked like Rena, frightened me to my core. I was terrified knowing that she could hear the sound of me swallowing nervously. After what felt like an eternity, after a long, empty silence, she spoke. Let's go. It's getting chilly. It was Rena again. Smiling at me once more, she started walking as if nothing at all had happened. When I was released from her gaze, my legs gave out from under me and I slumped onto the ground. I wasn't able to lift a finger until Rena was out of sight. Who was that? I felt cold. My body was drenched in sweat. I was finally able to form a coherent thought and ask myself again, who was that person who looked like Rena Ryugu? There you go, folks. I need a time check. I'll play like 10 more minutes. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner except stare blankly into space. Is that really the time, actually? It is. It's fine. 10 more minutes. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner except stare blankly into space. Was I terrified from Rena going off on me? No, that's not right. That was someone else who only looked like Rena. Then, who could it have been? It was a dreadful feeling, knowing that was someone else, not Rena. So tomorrow I shouldn't have a problem talking to Rena like I usually do. That thought was strangely comforting. I concluded that I should just calm down and clear my head, though those thoughts continued swirling around my mind. Finally, I returned to my senses as I heard my mother calling out to me from the bottom of the steps. Keiichi, it's a call from the bookstore. Bookstore? Can't think of why they'd be calling me. I went downstairs and picked up the receiver anyway. My apologies for calling so late at night. It's me, Oishi, from the Okinomiya bookshop. Oishi? Oh, it's Oishi. Sorry. Since your parents picked up, I said it was from the bookstore. It puts people off when I say I'm a police officer. Oishi was, in his own way, rather courteous. Even so, I didn't want my parents to hear me talking to the police. I brought the cordless phone with me as I dashed back to my room on the second floor. Sorry for calling so late. That phone number on the piece of paper I gave you yesterday was the old number. My apologies. Can you copy down the number I'm about to give you? Ah, yeah. Okay. He gave me the number for his direct line as I wrote it down. I thought that was the end of it, but he began making pointless small talk. It was pretty hard to hang up. So, how's it been, my Barra-san? Did anything strange happen recently? I see. This was the real reason. He really beat around the bush there. His adult conversation skills left me slack-jawed. Are you from around here, Oishi? Yeah, I am. Born and raised in Okinomiya. If he's from around here, he might know. Oishi-san, do you know what this Onikakushi thing is about? I believe that's when someone suddenly vanishes because they've been abducted by a demon. It's a special saying from around here. It has the same meaning as spirited away, like everyone else says. Whereas my friends would say they didn't know when I asked, this older man gave me a direct answer. It made me a bit happy that he answered me directly without trying to hide anything. Hinamizawa was... not sure if I should tell you this, my Bara. Don't try to play this off. If you're not going to talk, then I'm not going to tell you anything. No. That's not what I meant. It's just, it might make you feel bad. You see, long ago, Hinamizawa was feared as the village where demons reside. Demons? By demons you mean those pitchfork-carrying things in hell. More like human-eating monsters. They'd go down to the village, snatching people up and gobbling them down. That kind of tale. Demons snatching up people is what this Onikakushi really means. Okay. They said that the curse and being demoned away happened together. What does that mean? I already knew about the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row. But I didn't know there were people disappearing from those same 5 years. The curse and being demoned away happened together? First time I've heard of that. Is that how it is, my Bara? That's what I want to know. I heard Rena and Mion talking. They said that if it was really Oyashiro's curse, then both the curse and deeming away would happen. Oishi began humming and hawing on the other end of the receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind. My Bara, do you know that... I can't talk, I'm so sorry. It's like actors' outtakes when they're like, I can't talk. My Bara, do you know the first incident? The murder by dismemberment? Yeah. One of the 6 perpetrators is still on the run, right? Hypothetically. What if he isn't on the run, but was demoned away? Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Oishi. The incident 4 years ago was a particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, so they posted tons of wanted posters with his face on them. They stalked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of where he might be. Unless the police were completely incompetent. Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off. Then what about the incident the next year? When the man who supported the project and his wife both died in an accident? Well, actually, it was only the husband who died in an accident. His wife's body never surfaced. Unless we find the body, then it's considered a missing person by law. After the time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch of the main stream of the river for dozens of miles, but in the end they weren't able to find her body. But that's just not being able to find the body. She's still dead, right? Isn't it different from her being demoned away? We cannot say someone is dead without their body. Until a certain number of years pass, by law, she's still treated as still alive. I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality. How about the 3rd year? The Shinto priest died of illness, and his wife committed suicide? Maibara. That's actually the exact same scenario. The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless marsh deep in the forest around Hinamazawa. Meaning, it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the marsh. A driver was able to recover a few remnants, but they weren't able to find her body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere. I'm not sure if we could call these cases as being demoned away. It's just if you've... I can't speak at this point. It's just as you've said, every year, one person does go missing. The incident this year, the woman with Tomatake has gone missing. Then what about the incident with the housewife beaten to death, who went missing? I believe the perpetrator was caught, right? Yeah, we arrested him. He was just a miscreant with a record of narcotics abuse. He admitted to the crime while being questioned about a different incident. But, well, you see, after he was arrested, a child from the victim's home went missing. It's still under investigation as to whether the disappearance had anything to do with the crime. But you said you caught him, right? Did he have an accomplice? No idea. It's considered a separate case. Moreover, we can't even check now, because while under investigation, that man, he died in his holding cell. He swallowed a spork and choked to death. It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide, meaning, for the last 5 years, there's always one person who dies and one who goes missing. That's about right. No, actually, I'm surprised as well. I never realised they had that in common. I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common. Could it be that those demoned away have something in common? Oishi mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarised the events. The first year was a dam employee. Second year was the wife of a dam project supporter. Third year was the wife of the Shinto priest. Fourth year was the victim's family's child, and the fifth year was the victim's girlfriend, I guess. It doesn't seem like there's anything that connects them. With the exception of the first year, wives and girlfriends, those do stand out. It does seem like there are a lot. That means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if they were all married couples, except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Come to think of it, I believe Tomatake also told me the younger brother is alive and has moved, if I recall correctly. The child that went missing in the fourth year, who were they? Apparently he was quite mature, 1 year older than you. His name was Satoshi Hojo. Huh? Satoshi. I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me that Satoshi transferred out last year? He was at your school up until last year. Didn't they tell you anything about him? Come to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student. Then where I sat once belonged to the one who was demoned away. It was his seat. I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand on end. This string of mysterious deaths. No, Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling sensation, it was the feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it. And I was scared. That was why I wanted to say it was a plot crafted by man and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No, the more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging, eventually, I'd reach the point where I'd learn something I really shouldn't know, to either be none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be next time. It'll be me next time. My execution could only be delayed for 1 year. That was when I remembered. Rena. Rena said she may be... cannot talk. Rena said she may be the next victim of the curse. You mean Rena Ryugu? She transferred in last year and she's your classmate, isn't she? These incidents really might be a bit too disturbing for a girl. She's not just scared, is she? It wasn't that. She said it might be her next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it. It felt like she was convinced. Almost as if, you could say, she was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanour. That someone who looked like Rena but wasn't Rena, that might be unrelated. All the strange things that I felt from Rena's day came back to me. I see. Then I'll be doing a bit of investigating on this end. Sorry, I'm just having a wee look back through the log. I keep going the opposite way then. Okay. I'm just trying to track what he's actually said to Oishi. So that whole, you mean Rena, she's not just scared as she was Oishi. It felt like she was convinced, almost as if you could say... Alright, so... he's not really, like, fully clarified. Please continue your observations of Rena, Maibara. Are you asking me to keep Rena under surveillance? That's not what I mean, Maibara. I just want you to watch out for your friend so she doesn't end up the next victim. That's a lot of pressure to put on a teenage boy. At the moment, just as my mouth was agape, because I was so impressed with his mature, clever way with words. Knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver. Kiichi, get the door, please. On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late. Sorry, my dad just came in. Can we leave it at that for tonight? Yeah. My apologies again for calling so late. If you find out anything else, please let me know. I'll tell you if I make any progress on this end. Well then, have a pleasant evening. Kiichi, hurry and open up. Daddy's got his hands full. My God, that's so embarrassing. I'd be like, shut up. What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea, a fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side. Everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality. What's going on, Dad? What's all this for? Come now, don't play around, Keiichi. I'm coming in. I bet it's Rena. Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face. But for my entire life, I've never seen him act this hospitable. What had gotten into him? So, what were you talking about? I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my father. But how could I explain to him that I was talking to a detective? I'm assuming he was. This late at night. Nothing much. Just a friend. I don't mean the phone. She was here, wasn't she? Rena-chan. Oh, sorry. This really freaks me out. I need to be quiet. There are people sleeping in my house, like my parents and that. I'm being very loud. I don't mean the phone. She was here, wasn't she, Rena-chan? She wasn't here. Come now, don't try to keep it from me. She just came over to play. You two were chatting away, so I figured I'd bring some tea, but it looks like I just missed her. I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my back. How long were we talking? Rena-chan went upstairs about half after. So it was close to an hour, I guess? You saw her come up to the second floor. Yeah, I did. I also told her that your room was the door down the hall up the stairs. Rena came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the second floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with Oishi. I didn't reply, but he knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. Then told her my room was on the second floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up tea and left. She came upstairs about an hour passed, then passed by my dad and returned home. But then after she came upstairs and until she left, where was Rena? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs, meaning Rena had, for about an hour, in the hall. No, she couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. All of the ominous things and all the nonsense I spoke to Oishi about began rushing through my head. Honey, don't tease him. More importantly, you need to clean up your studio. It's a mess again. Mum yelled up at Dad from downstairs. Dad left the tray with me and went downstairs with a disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out the room with my eyes. I looked down at the floor, around the doorway where Rena might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Oishi, with my back turned, Rena was standing a mere 6 feet away, the whole time. All that time, in this dimly lit doorway. What did she see? What did she hear? For what reason? As the steam from the 2 teacups ominously wafted and twisted, the aroma of the black tea filled my room. Oh, that's a good place to leave it. Oh, guys, gals, pals. Oh my god. This is Higurashi starting to heat up properly now. Very excited. We've got tips. I think we'll save it there though. We'll read the tips next time. My goodness. I think I'm pretty much going to upload this straight away. So apologies because it won't be that heavily edited or anything. And I know I'm not the best at reading. But I hope you enjoy this episode and I'm really excited to read more with you sometime soon. I'll get paranoid in case I don't save it properly. We'll leave it there.